The Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is the ultimate flagship smartphone for those who buy into a more is more worldview and are willing to pay a premium. They will be rewarded for doing so. The S24 Ultra delivers a superior display, best-in-class performance that puts the Pixel 8 Pro to shame, and a stellar multi-camera system. But there are curious gaffs, too. Aside from the usual issues with Samsung bundleware, the Galaxy S24 Ultra doesn't offer Qi2 wireless charging. Maybe next year. Design. As the spiritual successor to the Galaxy Note, the Galaxy S24 Ultra carries forward with the basic design of the past several Ultras, right down to the bundled S Pen stylus hidden safely in a cubbyhole on the bottom left of the device. It's big and heavy at 6.39 x 3.11 x 0.34 inches and 8.18 ounces, but that never bothered me as much as did its sharp corners of the device digging into my hand. Like the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the Galaxy S24 Ultra utilizes titanium in its exterior frame, and it looks and feels as premium as the anodized aluminum design it replaces. But the frame is now more squared off instead of curved, I assume to accommodate the flat display that S also knew this year. It's also shiny and smooth, and while it lacks the iPhone S subtle brushed look, it's arguably even nicer looking, and it doesn't have that weird streaky discoloration issue the iPhone suffers from. But don't get too caught up in the titanium. As always, the S24 Ultra is mostly glass. The rear of the phone is made of Gorilla Glass Vitis 2, which should help with durability. But it's notably slippery, and that will be a liability for anyone who prefers living on the edge without a case. If you can deal with the potential downsides, I recommend getting a low-profile case to protect the Galaxy S24 Ultra. For expediency's sake, I purchased a standard Samsung silicone case with mine, knowing I'd never use it out in the world otherwise. But it added a thickness and weight that I came to regret. My bulky case did at least address the Galaxy S24 Ultra's wobble issue. As with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, it has a large camera array that protrudes from one corner of its back, and because it's on one side, the device can't lay flat with the screen facing up. So it will wobble when you tap the screen. Google solved this problem with its device-wide camera bar on the Pixels, and it's easy to imagine a similar horizontal arrangement on the Galaxy. I'm curious why Samsung didn't go for it. Samsung does at least offer the S24 Ultra in several fun colors, in sharp contrast to Apple's more dour iPhone Pro models. The unit I purchased came in titanium green, a more subtle than I'd hoped for light greenish-gray color that is matched to a very dark gray titanium frame. Other color choices, like titanium blue, titanium orange, titanium violet, and titanium yellow, are even more out there. And don't worry if you're less flamboyant, there are more traditional titanium black and titanium gray, light gray colors too. Like Google, Samsung puts all the Galaxy S24 Ultra's buttons on the right side. Apple curiously puts the power button on the right and 3 other buttons on the left of the iPhone, but they're in the wrong locations, with the volume buttons above the power button. You'll get used to that, of course, but it's one of several small idiosyncrasies that make this Samsung device feel a bit off if you're coming from another device maker. Display. Samsung delivered 3 meaningful display upgrades with the Galaxy S24 Ultra that elevate this device into the upper pantheon of flagship smartphones from a display quality perspective. This is the best smartphone display panel I've ever seen or used. First up is the long overdue move away from the curved display edges that compromised the user experience of previous models with glare and touch-related errors. But in keeping with the phone's more squared-off corners, the S24 Ultra's display corners are fully squared off, and that's too bad. Apple and Google use more elegant curved display corner designs that lend a sophistication that the utilitarian and brick-like Samsung device lacks. The Galaxy S24 Ultra is the first and, to date, only smartphone to utilize Corning Gorilla Armor for its display glass. This means the display should be more durable than any other smartphone and especially resistant to scratches. That could be, 3 months after I started using it, the S24 Ultra's display looks as pristine as it did on day 1. Gorilla Armor also cuts down on glare and reflections, which was especially meaningful during the solid month I used this phone in Mexico City, a time during which almost every day was perfectly sunny without a cloud in the sky. And then there's the display panel itself, a major upgrade over its predecessors and a true differentiator from the competition. It's a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED panel with a resolution of 1440 x 3120 505 ppi, a 19.5:9 aspect ratio, a 120 Hz dynamic refresh rate, and HDR10+ capabilities. And it can output a stunning 2600 nits of peak brightness. To be clear, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the displays in the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the Pixel 8 Pro. But the panel in the Galaxy S24 is technically superior, though more subtly so in real-world usage. As noted, we only rarely saw clouds in Mexico over 5 weeks, but I never had an issue reading this display, regardless of the searing, direct outside light we experienced most days. As with everything else in this phone, there are innumerable settings to consider related to the display. But after experimenting with various configurations, I left most of the display settings on their defaults, with adaptive brightness, motion smoothness, eye comfort shield, and color tone all enabled, and the resolution at FHD plus 2340 x 1080 instead of the battery-sucking QHD and native resolution, and I watched, amused, as Galaxy superfans complained that its vivid screen mode was somehow not vivid enough, triggering an update so minor I still struggle to understand why Samsung even bothered. Put simply, this display is perfect for just about any use case, with bright colors, wonderful contrast, and deep blacks. The bezels are small, and I appreciate the placement and small size of its selfie camera cutout, which doesn't get in the way when viewing videos. Hardware and specs. The Galaxy S24 Ultra offers the most modern and powerful underpinnings available in an Android smartphone, with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 mobile platform, 12 GB of RAM, and 256 GB, 512 GB, or 1 TB of fast UFS 4.0 storage. The Snapdragon SoC that sits at the heart of this beast is a 4nm design with an 8-core Cairo microprocessor, Adreno 750 GPU, and Hexagon neural processing unit. In day-to-day use,